Okay.
All right. What you know about Sketch Zone? Gonna learn today. Welcome everyone to the Sketch Zone podcast. I'm Carlos Gomez. We're gonna jump right in by introducing Charlie B. Williams III. Welcome back, brother.
I'm back. I was in the deep south last week. It was an amazing time. There's palm trees in Georgia. I didn't know this. It's my first time in Georgia. So I'm good to be here. Let's talk about it.
That's true. I didn't realize that either. Jack Kasperzak is here.
I am here. Thanks for having me on and not kicking me off yet.
Hey, Jack, you're looking real distinguished this week.
I have my professor look going on.
I like it.
Okay. Jack got a little.
Unless you have the same.
Got me some glasses.
Those are nice, fancy glasses.
Part of getting older.
Oh, don't say it like that.
Ain't that the truth?
Because I was in the thing and in the office, whatever, and I was like, yeah, I need new computer glasses, whatever, because I sit on the computer. He's writing me up the prescription at the end, and he's like, all right, so we've got a mild prescription for computer. He goes, for reading, I mean computer glasses. I was like, yeah, I guess it's however you want to look at it.
He's like, Jack, just write the damn prescription.
Yeah, I don't ask you for your opinion.
I'm at the point now where I go to the doctor and the doctor says, so are you on any medication? I say, no. Nothing? No. Like no daily. I guess people take daily Advils or Tylenols and stuff like this.
Why would they do that?
I don't know, because life hurts, I guess. I don't know.
That sounds like a horrible thing to do.
Help with the body pains? I don't know.
And so they're like, wow, congratulations.
Like what? Because I'm healthy?
Because I'm not trying to hide the pain of life. No, I'm good.
Speaking of life, there's a famous celebrity that just recently had I thought, if this is not how you get your feeds on Facebook, I want to say that Kevin Smith just had a heart attack.
He did.
Yeah. Yes.
And
there's
survived.
a video on YouTube. Yeah,
there's a video
on YouTube. Speaking of heart problems, C.T. Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be a strong man, and if you do a search for C.T. Fletcher on YouTube, you'll see he's this dude that works out a lot, and he cusses at his muscles.
Mm-hmm. He was also on Joe Rogan, so like I know his story. I know what you're about to say.
Yeah, but he's actually having open heart surgery right down the street. Right on.
Wow. This is like his third or fourth
heart surgery.
Yes.
Man,
so if you watch
surgery, this is like heart replacement. Like they're giving him a new heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're doing a transplant, but before he's had a bunch of surgeries on it. So like he's talked about this extensively for like 2 or 3 hours on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
And that's the misconception. People don't know how much is like he spent so much of his life like getting his body like perfect and all that good stuff that like his heart was just given out.
Right.
So he's been through this like a couple times and been on the list for a while. And now he was at the point where he needed this, so it's like he had 2 or 3 heart attacks already, a couple surgeries,
and he's hard-headed. They told him back when he first got sick, you're not going to lift weights. You really have to stop, because when you're lifting weights, number one, if you go for it really hard, it adds a lot of stress to your heart because you're really pushing. Yep. And your body's thinking, if I don't lift this thing, it might crush me, right? Your body doesn't really realize that you're doing it on purpose. Not to mention if you get into, because he admitted to dabbling in steroids for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then even if you aren't into steroids and you're doing a lot of, there's this stuff you can take pre-workout that really gets you amped up. It's like drinking 10 cups of coffee in
just like 15 type stuff.
Right. So that stuff gets you moving too. So all that stuff ends up taking a toll on your body. And not to mention, I think wasn't he like slightly diabetic or something? So diabetes attacks your organs and stuff too.
Like uses all type of things.
Like our buddy Scott Sidman.
Yeah.
He's had 2 heart surgeries.
Really?
And he's younger than me.
Oof.
Now, was that because he had something wrong? Not necessarily.
He has diabetes.
Okay. Did he had it already though? Was it
right?
Yeah.
Right. It's not his type of diabetes isn't the one that you. I'm going to sound so insensitive to say this, but it's the one that you don't choose to have.
Yeah. It's
you're born with rather than developing.
Right.
There's one you're born with, and there's one that eventually happens to you if you don't take care of yourself. Anyway, so yeah, so he's the one that he was born with it, and you can't really help it. Anyway, so now that we started the show off in a cheerful mood, happy March. And if you want to interact with anyone on the panel, go ahead and use the chat panel right there on Twitch, right there on YouTube. Or you can use the Sketch Zone hotline, 408-SKETCH-8. That's 408-753-8248. International callers, please use 011-408-753-8248. Operators are standing by. So now that we have that done, I'm glad you guys are here because now we can get into.
Let's go to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
And if we had practiced this, it wouldn't have come out and timed out any better because I was ready this time.
Were you ready?
And this week, y'all, we have Standing Silently in Quiet Snowfall.
That was so specific.
Serene.
It was so specific.
So let's see what we got. We got Studio Farina 00 is excited about it. So we're going to start off with the maestro, Sir Shiloh.
You best watch out. Look at that.
Watch yourself.
Yeah, and just like Jack said on Instagram, the fact that this guy is covering the little dog's mouth, it's so cute. It's so dumb. God, Shiloh, you're amazing. And then we have Kelsey Vaughn.
Vaughn.
Yeah, Vaughn.
That was just a comment.
Vaughn. Oh no, it's a clap. Yeah. Sorry. This is J Arsenal.
Excuse me?
Arsenal.
What's going on with this?
This one's cool because Jack actually started a conversation with, I'm going to find out who this is so I don't, Jason Arsenal. There we go. So Jason did this and it looks very traditional. And then Jack had started a conversation with him on Instagram. Come to find out, it's Autodesk Sketchbook on a Galaxy Tab. It looks like he did it on paper.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
It's got that texture to it and the smudginess.
Yeah. Very cool. The little lines that you lay down to set up as borders.
Mm-hmm.
Well played, Jason. Well played.
Woohoo!
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Kevin Anders chimed in with this one. I like this one a lot.
He is not happy to be walking his dog.
No, that was me and Lucy back in the day. I got to the point where I would just open the door when we lived in Chicago.
Yep.
I'd open the door, she'd run out, poop, and come back in, and I would be inside.
I would let Sydney out, and she would just stand by the door and like shake all sad and look like, do I really have to go out?
It's cold.
Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? That's what it say.
Why do we live here?
Why do we have to do this?
This is another really good one.
Combining. Hey, look,
see that?
combining 2 prompts.
You see that?
Now that's talent.
Because there's
Prompt inception.
it's so that's right. It's so good. I just realized that there's a lobster, a piano, and standing in the snow quietly. I like that. Good on you, Graham. Good one.
Good job, Graham.
We got Abe Witz. I want to find out what I know. His name is Rabinowitz. That's it. All right. Abe Rabinowitz. Good on you. This is very cute.
Yeah, I like that.
It.
Like
Good job, buddy.
The lines, the blue lines.
Lines are nice.
This is on an iPad, Apple Pencil, and Procreate.
I pay it.
Yeah, I did.
I pay it. I love this creature.
Mr. Tom.
I like this.
Yes.
Cool. What is it?
This is very cool.
The Pokemon.
It's
It's cool.
It's a snow
Long neck snow
leopard bird. Snow bear.
Bear cat.
Snow
Anyway,
bear.
I like it a lot. It's very, very well done. Traditional too.
He's posing.
He's
He's
like-
showing off that pencil and the paints.
Yeah. Let me show you some Control Z.
He's like, yep, this is how we do it in my hood.
This one is so
That's
hilarious.
hilarious. Yes,
But
so
nasty, but hilarious. When he did this one, I was reposting it and I cracked up laughing. I couldn't stop.
That's so gross.
Bro Love 2000 said nasty. Blah.
Bleh.
This one is hilarious.
Yo, hope we don't have lice.
He's got something.
Ew.
Some head and
It's great
shoulders.
perspective. Look at the perspective.
Yours truly. This is what it used to look like when
He
you
is
take a bus in
dying.
Chicago.
dying. He's got some
Actually-
specific earmuffs there. What brand are those?
Los brand.
They've got a specific
Brand Los.
insignia.
Brand Los.
Brand Los.
All the boys are wearing them.
Joaquin chimed in.
Joaquin
This one came out really good.
Went a little dark, but sometimes.
That's what winter's for.
Mm.
I like it.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was doing it live on the show, it was all color, and then I switched.
Screw
And
it.
then you kicked in.
And then it just overwhelmed me, and
And it was like black and white. Ah!
pretty much.
I get a little Bruce Wayne action there, like visiting.
Right.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then you
Only
get
one of his parents.
Yeah.
Stanport Studios
I
chimed
like
in.
that. I like that. It's kind of samurai
You can
jacket.
you can think
Oh,
you can
yeah.
think this is before and this is after.
Yeah, see, he's a good samurai. He
Yeah.
visits his victims.
Or you can say Bruce Wayne's like visiting Alfred in the future.
Or yeah, or this is like a Japanese Joker, and this is
Well, what was the dude that trained Batman? That could have.
Oh, Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, yeah,
Ra's
Ra's
al Ghul. Look at that.
Ra's al Ghul killed Batman's
Yeah,
dad.
man,
Bruce
fan
Wayne's
fiction.
dad.
We're writing fan fiction in the fun prompt
And
section.
I don't even like DC like that.
Ooh, Hoodie.
Ooh, look at
We
this.
got Pat Mast. Let's find out what Pat's real name is. Pat Mast. There you go. Moving on.
Pat Mast.
Good. Got a little ghoul in the back with having a hungry man dinner. Someone is hiding.
All by his lonesome.
You better,
Single
shut
candle.
up before you get ate.
Got a TV tray going on.
Oh. Let's see. I think this might be our first 3D submission.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, buddy. Renee Ramos.
Ramos.
Welcome. This is really cool.
Yo.
You are our first.
Can we get a clap for
3D
this? Yes.
We could get a clap for that.
We threw everything in there.
We like you.
Homer made his way into the audience.
Yeah.
Well played. This is cool. I like it. Way to get in there.
Sad snowman, no?
Sad snowman because he's lonely. and winter is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that was
Soccer ball. Awesome.
that was standing silently in a quiet snowfall. Well played.
I like it.
So with that being said, how do we want to do it? Do we want to do it the old-fashioned way?
We got a
Do
new
you
way.
wanna
We got a
do-
website that's amazing, right? Yes.
Well, I don't know if it's amazing, but it's very random. It gets
Mm.
very
I thought you
bizarre.
found a new one though. I thought we found a new one that was.
Oh, well, the one that the previous one came from, wasn't that was that a Steven Silver?
Oh, that was yeah.
No, we didn't. We did the old-fashioned way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For anybody in the chat,
Um,
that works pretty good when we do an audience one.
No one
Yeah,
has submitted any, but if anyone
Okay.
anyone watching, we do have some viewers. If anyone is watching has any recommendations,
Let me see here. Twitch. No one's. Not all.
Otherwise, this is what we did last time.
Okay.
I picked one. So the other time that we did something different, Jack had 3 random words, and everyone was like, "What in the actual?"
Oh yeah, that actually worked good. That's the one. That's what I'm talking about.
So why don't we do this? I'll pick one. Jack, you pick one, and then we'll pick the best one.
Okay, we can do
So
that.
I'm gonna go trusty cards.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Google, pick a number between 1 and 5.
Okay. 3.
I knew she was gonna say it. Character. Queen of spades, queen of diamonds, queen of hearts.
Wait, that's what it is?
Yeah,
That's a lot of stuff.
it is a lot of stuff.
That's 3 sisters, or is there 4 of them?
There is 4, but one of them has to stay back and clean, apparently. Who's
Which one?
missing? Diamonds, hearts, spades, clubs.
Clubs.
The queen of clubs is missing.
She got clubbed.
She's probably in jail for
She
clubbing,
got clubbed.
or she's in the club.
I mean,
Doesn't always have to be violence.
So we got the 3 queens, or
animal trainer.
Mm,
I kind of like that one.
I don't know if you guys. You already did like a creature one.
That's another thing. It's March.
it is the March of Robots, the first day.
Are we going to do March of Robots?
Robot trainer.
Could you imagine someone is whipping the hell out
That
of
was
a robot?
a movie, Real Steel. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, with
Hugh Jackman.
Wolverine. Yeah. All right. Do we have 3 words? Actually, are we going to do March of Robots?
Well, we can't if we do the 3 words, because the 3 words are fish, warrior, courage.
I kind of like that.
Fish.
Unless you spin it, Sketch Zone Nation, and you do the 3 words.
Wait. Hold the phone. See, this is I had invited DaCosta to come on the show, but he's usually getting ready for bed by now. But if you go to marchofrobots.com, you hashtag your robots, join in for a chance to win one of 5 Wacom Intuos art mediums.
Ooh, maybe I need to start doing this. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah. So this just in. Marchofrobots.com. Tell them Sketchzone sent you. It's just in. Yeah, so apparently if you can also go to Instagram.com/chocolate soup, 2 O's, no U, chocolate SOOP. You'll see what I'm talking about. DaCosta and Wacom are giving away 5 Intuos art. And if you don't know what that is, it's, imagine a drawing tablet, not the kind that you look at and you can see what you're drawing right on the tablet. It's the kind that sits on the table and you paint on the table as you're looking up wherever your screen is. Very
Ooh.
cool. Very the cool thing about these are it's very travel
Friendly.
Thank you. Very easy to travel with. It even has a little notch on the top where you can slide the pen in, it looks like. So yeah, take a look, y'all. With that being said, I doubt we're gonna win because he's been on the show and he knows us, and
That would seem set up.
yeah. But yeah, go to marchofrobots.com for further details. But it's definitely worth following up on if you don't have any. Shiloh says 3 words.
Do the 3 words, and if you want to, if you're gonna do the March of Robots, just make it like a warrior robot fish.
What we can do is a robot warrior fish. I like that.
With courage.
Let's write that down because that's starting to work in my brain.
Or courageous fish warrior with robots.
Boom.
Depends how you phrase it. You get different results.
Come on, Jack, remix it. Keep going. Or
a courageous robot with a warrior fish.
Yes, here we go.
Or a courageous fish. Nope.
With a warrior robot.
How about
I just remembered I did one.
Warrior courage with a fish robot.
Or yeah. Or courage named warrior.
Courage.
Fish
the
robot.
Fishy robot.
Courage, the cowardly fishy robot.
Dave Etsy says that the Intuos, Wacom Intuos, is the gateway drug to a Cintiq or iPad Pro. Hi, Dave. I mean, you know what's funny? Every time you play that, I forget you have it, and my ears and my brain are saying, "What is your mouth doing?
What are you doing?"
I'm like, "Am I actually saying that?"
That's hilarious. Shut up, Kyle.
For real. I'm like, "Oh, hey, that's me. Am I actually talking right now?"
Don't tell Jack that you have control over you.
3 words: courageous robot fish. Whatever you want to do,
warrior
those
fish.
Are your 3 words. And use not only tag us, obviously, so we can share it, but also use the hashtag March of Robots or hashtag March of Robots 2018. Learn more about the Intuos on marchofrobots.com. Boom.
Let's go up to the canvas here and let's get started.
Let's get
I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
Yes.
Cool. Speaking of, no, actually, we're not going to be speaking of Instagram right now because we wanted to talk to Charlie. We wanted to talk to Charlie about going to Georgia. Oh, Georgia. You went to Georgia for
I did.
work.
First time ever. First work.
You just went there to hang out with T.I. or something? Like
hang out in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Hung out with a little bit of Outcast, a little bit in Atlanta eventually after that.
You hung out with Outkast?
Huh?
You hung out with Outkast?
Yeah, a little bit. It was awesome.
For real?
Not really. I wish I did.
Get out of
I'm starting to make a lot of connections in Atlanta, surprisingly enough, because it's my life that I can't find work around here. I have to find it in Atlanta. Anyway, so you went there for work?
Yeah, I went there for work. So all jokes aside, I went to Savannah, Georgia for work. And down in Savannah is home to one of the top art schools in the country, Savannah College of Art and Design, aka SCAD. And SCAD every year has with a career fair. Now their career fair is, a little different than the ones that have been around here. It's times 1,000. Savannah, just little fun facts about Savannah. Savannah has about 10,000 students currently going to school down there.
Wow.
Yeah. Savannah's SCAD, let's just say SCAD. SCAD's really integral to the.
I didn't realize it was that big of a school. 10,000?
10,000 students,
Lord,
and then it's spread across 70 buildings across Savannah. SCAD,
So
what
if you're
SCAD
not,
does.
hang on for 1 second. If you're not from the States, Savannah's in Georgia, obviously. Georgia's on the East Coast.
in the South.
Somewhat south. Yeah.
Pretty south.
Yeah, pretty south. Savannah actually is really close to Hilton Head, which is
it's super hot during the summer, and the mosquitoes there will carry your babies away.
That's true.
I know, scary.
And there's lots of deals that go down in the Garden of Evil at midnight.
Okay.
All right, I'll cricket myself. Ain't nobody got that reference?
I wasn't gonna do it. Because I like you, Jack.
Nope.
I just figured out it was over my head.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil? Come on.
Okay.
Is that a movie?
Sure. It's a book and a movie.
It's probably a really good book, right?
But we're not allowed to talk about that actor anymore because he's a toucher.
We shouldn't be laughing about this.
You're not laughing about that. You're laughing about the way I said it.
You can't be dropping them gems like that.
God, that was wonderful.
Okay, let's get back to SCAD because
okay,
it's safe.
God, that was wonderful.
That subject's saved. He's a toucher. Anyway, so I went to Savannah College of Design Career Fair.
I forgot the 3 on your name.
And Charlie B. Williams III. Yeah, I didn't type it right. But, they had like 1,000 student workers. You're gonna get this kind of thing. So got a little badge.
Trick ass.
And 10,000 students that didn't know about Savannah. Savannah is really cool. If you want to know, Sketch Zone Nation, what Savannah looks like like New Orleans clean. It's on a river. It's on the river. The city on the river. So they have a lot of industrial, factories and whatnot along the river. They have a port. I saw a bunch of brand new cars getting put into shipping crates and getting put on, boats and stuff like that. So it's a city by the river, which is cool. But it's like the whole city is like one big historical district. It looks really amazing. Trees are like 400 years old. They line the streets. They line the center of the streets. It's a beautiful city. If you look on my Instagram, instagram.com/charliebw3, check it out. I have a picture. I stayed at a wonderful hotel called the DeSoto Hotel. Really cool old school hotel on the 13th floor, which I didn't realize that after I got back. I've been chilling on the 13th floor in the room 1303. That's weird. I don't know why they had a 13th floor because I know hotels usually don't do that, but we did, and I didn't realize it. But the balcony, I was dead center on the hotel, right over the front door on the 13th floor. Beautiful view in the morning. Beautiful view of the bridge, which you could take the bridge over the river, and you can take it on 15 minutes up into Hilton Head. So it's really close, which is South Carolina, right? If I'm not mistaken, or something like that.
My southern geography is fine.
Yeah, but Hilton Head is literally right there, because the Savannah, we flew into the Savannah airport, and that it'll say "Welcome to Savannah" / Hilton Head, whatever. But it's a Savannah airport. It's awesome. But Savannah is really integral to, or SCAD's really integral to Savannah's restoration historically and stuff like that. So what SCAD usually does is it takes over buildings, it buys up buildings all throughout Savannah, redoes them, or as the cab driver told me, put its magic on it, and now these buildings are amazingly restored, and they use them as a building for school. So it's like the ultimate school, like we went to, guys. It's like a commuter school, but not. So they have dorms and everything, but the 70 buildings of the school are spread out throughout the city of Savannah. So SCAD is not a localized thing at all. So then we passed some of the dorms, and outside the dorms, they had 5 or 6 different bus stops with different colors. So I'm thinking in the morning, the kids will just get on. If you get on the green bus, that'll take you to Montgomery Hall, which is maybe that's interactive design and motion graphics, and then the yellow bus will take you over to the architecture and all, you know what I'm saying? So they have an elaborate shuttle system to get the kids to different parts of the city where those different buildings are. And some buildings, even the program chair said he's never been in since he got to SCAD or when he was visiting or whatever. So that many buildings, like, you know, it feels like a campus where you can never be in a couple of them because there's no need to go to them. But they did a cool thing, which some of the student workers told me, because we had like a student showcase the night before, what they did, which was voluntary. So you get a lot of the kids that were like really hungry to get their stuff in front of employers. And she told me that like the animation kids have their dorms right next to their building, which I thought was really thoughtful. And if you know anything about SCAD, animation coming out of SCAD in terms of computer animation and their animation program is top notch. It's like you know, number 1, number 2, or whatever. It battles between the top 3 in the country every year. So that was kind of cool that they do think of things like that, you know. But let's fast forward to the actual career fair. We didn't know how big it was going to be. So it's for Next Now. It's the first time Next Now went because we desperately need new talent. So I've been pushing this initiative for a while and talking and building up our freelancer program. And finally, like, we thought we just need to start going to some of these top schools and finding new talent, because we've had such good luck with different people that have worked with at Next Now in the past. Has been SCAD grads and stuff like that we just want to, you know, try to find that spark again. And
isn't that a song? We got them SCAD grads. Beep bop boop ba da bop. Bitty 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 ba da bop. Beep bop. No, it's a scat man. I was trying to be funny, but crickets, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Crickets, please give it to him.
No,
give it to him. Crickets.
Okay, SCAD.
Don't do it.
Free crickets, me. SCAD.
Wow.
SCAD. Guys, move on.
I was waiting for crickets. Okay. Whatever. Anyway, so it was really cool. So like, didn't know how big it was gonna be. They told my studio GM that like, yo, you might want to bring another person, because she was just gonna go. You kind of need 2. So we get there. We get the day of the career fair was on Friday. We get all set up, and like I look down my lane or whatever. I see like Frame Store on the end. I see Facebook across the way. I see Microsoft on the other end. The guys who did Archer, you know, they're on three booths down from me. Insomniac was right next to me. 2 booths down was High Res, and the lines were just forming. And no one was.
Did you share your resume?
And then no one was in our line. I thought about it. I'm just kidding. No one was in our line. So then instantly in my head, because I've been to these things a little bit, I was like, oh my gosh, are we going to get anybody? Because no one knows who we are. Are we going to be that one, you know, group that doesn't have anybody in their line? I got really scared for a second there, like embarrassed. Like, we better get somebody in our line. Each employer had a student worker. So I was like, yo, Matt, I need you to bring people over to this table. You know, and that's what they do anyway, because students are kind of like, you know, one mindset. So some of them will like stand in line for Frame Store all day, but knowing that like they're only going to hire 1 out of the 400 people they see, because that's what they need at the time. The faculty and like, you know, the help workers and stuff are really good about letting students know, and they did a good job. SCAD off the rip has some of the smartest students I've ever talked to in terms of like preparing to talk to employers and knowing who was there. So surprisingly, they started coming over to Next Now, because SCAD right now, in terms of the interactive part of the school, as well as the game and as well as motion graphics, is really into VR, and they're really into AR. So like they found out that there's a company that specializes in it, us, and like they started flocking. So 15 minutes in, the line was at 50 people. An hour in, the line's at 80 people. And like, whole snap. So by 10 o'clock, we've already talked to 100 people.
Nice.
Each of us.
So Matt did his job.
Yeah. Well, Matt started a little bit, but they started trickling in. But yeah. So like, fast forward, end of the day, 3 o'clock, me and my studio GM probably talked to 300 people a piece.
Wow.
You know, like
holy,
it was
How much
crazy.
did you
And that's everybody. Like I have pictures and videos of like I just got up and like, yo, Matt, you got to give me a minute. I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah, but,
you know, because I just want to get up and like use the bathroom, but see, just kind of see, because I wanted to see what it looked like, you know, and like it was just crazy.
So
he wanted to see what it looked like at Insomniac.
I need time to go talk to employers too. No,
so after I had my meeting with MPC, you know, I went back and talked to more students.
You pushed Matt out of the way and took his job interview.
Right. Yo, Matt was cool. Shout out to Matt, VFX student, in his second year at SCAD, doing good. Keep those. Had a boss student that was a little bit too eager to boss people around. I thought that was hilarious. He's like, Charlie, just so you know, I might have to take Matt elsewhere throughout the day. I'm like, oh. I'm like, you're gonna take Matt? Does Matt know you're gonna take him? So now I'm being a smart ass because I'm like, legit, calm down, you know. So just in case I need to fill Matt somewhere else, I'm gonna take Matt. Okay, but I want to make sure that's okay with you. I'm like, well, no, Matt, no, such and such is not okay with me. And then he was like, wait, okay, that's fine, we can work with this. I'm like, do whatever you want with Matt. That's between you and Matt. But I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry about it. He had a little chuckle. He didn't know if he should laugh at first. I'm like, dude, you can go ahead and laugh. It's funny. It was a good joke. But like, he was cool. I just, you know, you got all type of students there. They were really cool. And I've seen some of the best reels and some of the best, like, that made me go, wow. SCAD does a really cool thing with their creative learning initiative or whatever, where they bring in companies. So they work with Google, they work with Pixar. I looked at a VR thing for a 3D artist or 3D generalist. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, cool. You recreated the city from Coco. Nice. So I put it on thinking, okay, this is going to be cool. It's not going to be just like it, but it's going to be cool. I'm looking at it, Jack. I'm looking at it, Carlos. I'm looking at the like horizon, and the dude's like, oh yeah, just so you know, those are buildings back there. Let me take you upstairs in the custom elevator I made. I'm like, okay, cool. And it's actually buildings in the background. I'm like, okay, cool. It's in Unreal. It's running at like 90 frames a second. It's perfect. I'm like, lighting's really good. I'm looking at it. I'm getting kind of pissed. I'm like, wait a minute. Already, as he's graduating, getting really pissed. So now I'm trying to find things to critique. I'm like, so how many people worked on this? Okay, cool. So it's a group project, so that made me feel a little better. But I'm like, if I took my headset off and just looked at him, I'm like, okay, how did you do this? You just need to tell me straight. Like, this looks amazing. It looks like the movie. I've seen the movie with my daughter. This looks great. How did you do this? Oh, I probably should have told you. We do this little thing at SCAD where we work with different companies. So I got lighting information from Pixar. I'm like, there it is. Makes me feel so much better now. That's cool. You did a great job. They made a VR version, but at the same time, they were being mentored, you know? Yeah. So like the lighting had to look a certain way. And I think they probably had it. There probably was something they did in conjunction with something else with Pixar. So it looked great, but he did a great job on the stuff that he did, but they had a lot of those like projects with different places and stuff like that. So it was cool, but you know, I was looking for a motion designer and a 3D generalist, and I'm going to show off two of them for my,
what does a 3D generalist look like?
Looks like me, you know? No, but like it does. It's seriously. So 3D generalist,
Charlie's like, still looking for a job.
Still trying to get that next now 3D generalist job. No, so I need another person like me or my other 3D guy. Where basically you can have, especially what you're good at, but you have a lot of other skills. So you can light, you can texture, you can model, you can do a little bit of like animation, be it mechanical or like a little bit of character work. You can do a little bit of rigging. So you can do a little bit of everything. I still look for them to have like their go-to like thing that they're really good at. But a generalist needs to be open to do a bunch of stuff and not like a one-trick pony. And I saw a couple. I mean, SCAD seems like they do a good job of making those kids like do other things now. But I saw a lot of one-trick ponies too, where all they had was character stuff on their reel, or all they had was, you know, effects stuff, and they were like, oh, I'm not really a good modeling. So so that's more of like if you're trying to be a cog in the wheel at somewhere big, you know. But for the job we needed at Next Now, you need to be able to be a little bit more flexible. in the 3D department, and then the motion designers at Next now kind of drive the look and feel of the projects and stuff, as well as provide motion graphics and a little bit of 3D via Cinema 4D, and be badass at art at After Effects, and then can be able to do decks and boards and storyboards, all that good stuff that our directors types do. So we were looking for those, and we found really good stuff. I found some really cool international students too. So fingers crossed on if I can possibly even use one of them maybe, because from what I talked to the other faculty, a lot of employers and stuff and current administration stuff like that is kind of weary of hiring international students and stuff like that. So they're really cool that we were considering them too. So I thought that was kind of cool, because a lot of those guys showed incredible heart and had amazing work. Some of them were like, oh yeah, I was a concept artist for 4 years in China doing such and such and such and such, and I do 3D and I do this. And they had storyboards, they had concept they had like breakdowns from start to finish, and they did all the 3D stuff. It was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And they're articulate and they talk well, and then like they were interested in talking to you, and they weren't like shy or anything like that. It was cool. So I saw the best of both worlds, both international and American students. It was cool. Had a great trip, and the food was good.
I was starting to clean up on my desk, my desktop with that, because I had like 47 windows open. And I came across this, and I just needed to share this because this is absolute gold. Oh my god, look at
yo. That was on your desktop?
No, I had a bunch of windows open with Instagram, and this is one of the regular contributors, Graham. His sense of humor is just it's just next level. This is hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Check this out too, because this right here. This is
that's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So
he took.
I see it.
Nightcrawler, nice.
Right. One for each letter.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what's that between Atlanta and whatever the hell is in the water in Australia. You guys are just monsters.
And Atlanta's now, or Georgia's now, the third largest contributor to movie industry and production. Yeah. Did you guys know that now? Well, I'm sure Jack knew that.
Yeah.
I knew it was on its way up. I didn't know it was number 3, but I know things are happening out there.
A lot of Black Panther was shot in Atlanta, or shot in Georgia, and then it brought the state like $80 million or something like that.
Damn, not bad.
I read that in an article too, so that was interesting. To date, Black Panther brought in $708 million or something like that, or million or something like that.
Movie is
so
crushing.
It's crushing it right now.
Similarly, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I'm going to pull it up real quick so I don't talk. Here in America, it's the AMC. It's a channel called AMC. Do a search for it. It's called Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics. It's absolutely wonderful. It's about how many? I don't know how many episodes. I think there's about probably 9. Zip it. Robert Kirkman, Kirkman, Secret History of Comics. It's phenomenal. And the one that I just finished watching was what was it called? Like Bringing Color to Comics, I think was the title of the episode. But it was talking about how the color of comics, that's what it was. But it talks about how back in the day there was just no minority, let alone black. There's just no minority representation in comics or actually working on comics, whether they're writers, illustrators, whatever the case may be. But then they talk about I forgot the name of the company, but as a company that wrote some black characters, the black main characters, and then they went and pitched to DC, and DC picked it up, and long story short, they go through their thing and then it falls apart, but then now they're actually coming back. And anyway, so it's just really good to see that happening, because you don't realize how much it's incredible to me to hear people say things like, when I was a kid, I didn't think that was possible because I didn't see people like me doing those things.
Yeah.
Superman, Batman, like everyone was so you have all these let's just say colored kids that are looking around saying, okay, well, it is what it is, right? I guess there's nothing for me to strive to. And you take those words for granted because you don't. I never really thought about it that way. But it's true. Like, if you don't see the people that look like you accomplishing things, you don't think that you're able to accomplish those things.
Nope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Black Panther is killing it. Check out Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics. I don't know if it's on Hulu or anything like that, but AMC has it, and it's very interesting. Was that all we were going to talk about? Atlanta?
Yep.
Cool. So then let's talk about Instagrams. So what's happening with Instagram is they changed the way the algorithm works. So they're almost forcing you to prove that you're human, if that makes sense. So,
which is good, right?
If you, it's really good if you think about, depending on how you look at it, right? So, let's say we did March of Robots, we post the picture, and it starts gaining momentum on Instagram, and people are liking it. A couple people comment on it. You have, I think they said, like 60 minutes to reply to what people are writing. And it can't be like 3 words. It can't be, I like this. It has to be, man, I really like this. Da, 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 da.
Oh my God.
You have to write back saying, oh, thanks, man. That's really cool. This is what I did to do this one thing, right? So it has to be longer than 3 words. And then we find out too that, let's say, for example, a group of artists get together and they form a co-op. So every time I submit something, the co-op then goes and makes sure that they like and write something on your picture to gaining that momentum, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the same people keep liking and commenting and possibly saying the same thing on your picture, then you start getting that momentum taken away.
Fair enough.
Makes sense in theory.
Right. Unless you have a full-time job.
Right.
I can't be on Instagram following up on people.
But it gets rid of those Chinese farming sites and other places where they have 100 phones connected to Instagram.
Yeah, that's true.
Embodying.
That's true. And I think that's one of the big yeah, that's an approach for creative, let's say, independent creatives that depend on their audience to sell stuff, right?
Right.
Do you want 5,000 people that just like your Instagram follower pictures, or do you want maybe 50 that buy everything you have to sell?
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. So what's better? Do you want a big wide audience that just kind of likes your stuff, or do you want a smaller audience that actually helps you pay your bills?
Yeah, that's true. But I also I mean, we've known for a while now, and it's been more apparent on Facebook that there's another component of the algorithms that are sort of creating these echo chambers that you're only seeing people that you like often or people that you communicate with often. So in a way, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, it's forcing you to only see people that you communicate with often, but that's also a red flag if you're never finding new people. So it sounds to me, I mean, I'm speaking a little out of line. I don't know the full details of the algorithm and what catches and, you know, exceptions are in there, but it sounds to me like it's not super well thought out. Because I know personally, and I know Devatsi and some other people who have listened to the show have expressed frustrations with even the previous algorithm that it just, you don't see it. You know, I'm following like 700 people, and I think I see maybe 50 of the same people just over and over again, and it does it out of order. Like, it tries to show you the most popular ones, so you're not seeing them by date. You know, there's some weird things that I don't know that are helpful to anyone or to this botting problem.
And that's one of the big reasons why this new app, Vero, we'll just say Vero.
Like zero, but Vero.
That's why Vero has started gaining popularity. It's because there's a lot of artists, for example, that saw it, they got interested, because now you don't have an algorithm. You can post, and you yourself can there's different levels of people. Is it an acquaintance? Is it a friend? Or is it a close friend?
That's the best part about Vero. That's
Dave,
the best part.
Dave, you're listed as a close friend. So if I'm not listed like that on yours, we're having words.
Well,
Hi, Dave.
I got Dave as an acquaintance, so I'm good. Just kidding. No, but that's the best part. So even if, you know, one of the big three, because if this app doesn't work out, somebody adopt that, because I like that whole distinct.
Facebook sort of has that, but I don't know that it really works.
It goes too far with Facebook. This one seems like it's a little bit more straight to the point. Where, like, and if I can, like, say, Jack, if I can, like, switch through the three, like, if you have them in like a timeline fashion, and I can just switch through acquaintance and just scroll through that, or scroll through close friends.
That's true.
You know, they need to do it like that, but no one does it like that. Facebook is like this weird, mysterious, like, grouping, and you never see them again. Like, for a while, I wasn't seeing any of your posts, you know, for a while, until I physically went back over and, like, I think one of the people are saying to comment on the person's page, and then I start seeing yours. Or, like, at one point I didn't see Tyrus's post for like a month. I was like, why have I not seen any Tyrus's posts? You know, like, so I hate that I have to go out and seek people. Maybe they do that on purpose. You know,
Dave just now started following me on Vero.
Yo, he just went real quick to sit there and, like, oops. He totally did. I'm trying to tell you, he had you as an acquaintance. He had to switch you over.
He had me in the ignore list.
You know what? Dave still didn't add me, but that's okay. I remember that.
Don't worry.
It'll show up right now and be like,
in a couple minutes. Yeah.
Dave,
Dave did. I'm looking on, because we gotta talk about my new phone, but I'm looking on my old phone, and it just showed the Instagram. Dave just liked one of my posts. I don't think I've ever seen Dave like one of my posts. Did you just follow me, Dave, on Instagram?
But now, before you guys all jump on the Vero train,
Yeah.
They're already getting in trouble.
What?
They are
Already.
several on
Yeah.
several accounts, several different things.
Do you guys want to?
We want to crack this walnut open.
Let's do it. Let's see. Let's hear about this.
Oh, I thought I was opening the door for more than just me to talk.
Gonna ventriloquist that. I actually don't know the whole deal with the owner. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, I think I was going to make this joke. I had to go to my resume to make sure that I didn't work for this guy before because
What?
So what's happening is I sent you guys the link, but I want to make sure. So this guy, the owner is the son of a guy who used to be the prime minister to
Let me find it.
to Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
His name is Hariri. His last name is Hariri.
Yeah.
And he's educated and everything here from the States. He was an executive, defunct construction company.
Yeah.
His dad was the prime minister, and I think now his half brother is now currently the prime minister. So this guy comes from money. So he has nothing to do except sit around and try to figure out how to make more money. So he started a couple things. If you guys remember Allo.
No.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it was in and out just that fast. And I remember the only reason I found out about Ello is because I listened to a bunch of other podcasts and those guys had started jumping on Ello. And I started looking into it and I was like, well, whatever. If you go too deep with this whole social media thing, you're not going to get any work done. That's the way I see it.
That's true.
So this guy has started, he's trying to cash in on this whole social media thing. And this one actually has momentum. Vero does. I don't think that he's a part of it anymore, but at one point, I think he was still a part of it when this happened, but workers weren't getting paid. And Dave Atsy says, Charlie, I've been following you for ages, but you never show up in my feed. Sad face. Dave,
see, it's the algorithm.
Dave, count your blessings. No, just kidding.
I have some amazing food posts on Instagram.
Food posts.
Ooh, I have to tell you guys about my Cuba sandwich.
I've been following that saga. Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Wait, back up, what?
Dude, I made
perfect.
Cuba News 2018. I took it upon myself to make a Cuban sandwich. So if you don't know what a Cuban sandwich is, you take Cuban bread, you put mustard, Swiss cheese, ham, roast pork,
egg.
What?
No eggs.
Get out of here with eggs. Ham, roast pork, pickles, dill pickles, Swiss cheese, mustard, and the other part of your Cuban. And then you take that Cuban bread, you take that and you press it.
Yes,
and it all squishes down and all the cheese melts. And listen to me when I tell you, I made the bread from scratch.
I made that bread. You made bread
I roasted the pork. Yeah, I made bread from scratch. Cuban bread from scratch.
Okay.
Huh?
You know how to do that?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I made time for that. Then check your phone now, Charlie. Smiley face. Dave Atsy said.
That sounds like a.
So I made the bread. I made the bread and I roasted the pork all myself, and then I built the sandwich up, and then I sat down and I ate that. And I don't know if I've ever been more proud of myself.
I'm proud of you because this description Next time I come to California, you making me one of
You're
these.
making me that right now.
Right?
And because you brought this up, I'm going to use this as the official introduction to your section of the show. I was feeling weird about this intro song, but since you brought it up,
That's awesome.
That's a namesake for my puppy right there.
so Carlos
yeah. By the
Gomez
way,
was-
don't ever hesitate to play that.
you know,
I want a gif of that. Of
People
that
get-
dance, all of us dancing.
people get sensitive now this day and age. So
Okay. So I gotta say something. All right, Dave Atsy, you're ridiculous. I don't know what you're doing on Instagram, but let's just have you get off of Instagram right now.
Boy.
Look at this.
he's
Look
trying
at
to make you
this.
feel better. With your cracked screen.
I know. Let's not talk about it, Jack. Don't open up a wound that still hurts.
Okay.
Um,
let's put that away. I don't like that.
All Dave
When
Adsy.
people show me their spider web phones like that, it really does hurt my soul. It hurts my feelings when I see stuff like that.
Yo, it's still scrolling. Wait a minute, Dave.
Yeah.
How many posts are you liking?
All of
He
them.
put a smiley face, so you knew
He's
he
not
was
even
up to
real.
something.
He's a Chinese farm that's just pressing like.
I'm just like, it's just scrolling.
Dave
Oh,
wants to
Dave.
prove that he exists on your Instagram.
That's right. And he's real.
Nothing to do with
I'm a real boy.
it. I just see him like listening to the show and just liking.
So
stuff.
Carlos,
So we were talking about
Yeah, let's work-
I made a bomb ass sandwich. But then so what happened? This
we're talking
guy
about people not getting paid.
Oh yeah.
Dave said, "Oh, now I'm liking too many posts." Dave, there's no winning. There's no winning. So this guy had a bunch of developers working on Vero, and apparently a bunch of them never got paid. Never got paid. They just didn't get paid. And then I think eventually they figured it out. But the people that weren't getting paid started like a riot, setting cars on fire.
Where?
Hey, sometimes
Wherever the hell they are, like in Saudi Arabia or wherever they are.
that's one way to form a union.
Yeah. Yeah.
Collective bargaining, bitch.
Boom, boom. This paycheck is the bomb.
He was just. This is what weird because he was saying that like his brother has ties to like Putin or something.
Oh God.
They had a bunch of developers from Russia there. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the brother or not, but there was a bunch of Russian developers there. Whether or not that has anything to do with whatever, quite honestly, I'm super tired of hearing about this because we have bigger fish to fry than whether or not the Russians bought Facebook ads.
Yeah. We
Did
kind
you
of.
see did you see the video of the keynote from the Russian president today or yesterday?
Yeah, where he's practicing bombing Florida. Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, but
Yeah.
maybe he's on the side. I'm just kidding. No, because then we lose Miami and all that good stuff places, which I hear is cool.
Miami's cool.
I was gonna make a
Miami's
joke.
cool, but you got to be ready.
Mhm.
Miami's cool, but you got to be ready. You can't just be walking into Miami like all nonchalant, like you accidentally walk into the girls' bathroom. That's an accident. You
Wait,
got to
what?
be ready. In Miami, you got to be ready. You got to, because Miami will take your soul.
I bet. I need to have my white pants perfectly ironed, ready to go. And a nice orange shirt. You know where I'm going with
You know
this.
what it is. You know what it is. You know what it is when you. You know what it is in Miami when you're going out and you want to go into the club, but they don't let you, and you're clean, like you got your perfectly pressed white pants and everything, and you're looking good and you're feeling good. And if you don't look the part, they don't let you in. Dudes don't get in unless you got about 2-3 girls with you.
Mm.
Okay.
It's a different world out there. You got to be ready. People be going out there, yeah, we're gonna party, all this stuff, and then they end up like dead in the curb.
You end up eating the dinner.
Dead in the curb.
Dead in the curb. In the curb. Not on the side. In the curb.
Dead in the curb.
In the curb. Yeah, Miami's a completely different beast. You can't be playing with Miami. Miami will
Great
change
food though.
Miami will change you. So things are popping off. Yeah. So there's a bunch of just as fast as artists were jumping on Vero, they're jumping off Vero.
Like, bye, Felicia.
Yeah. But apparently Dave Etsy is still
done.
Dave Etsy is still on it because he just now started following me on Vero, but whatever. Things are popping off. And I think the working class is just about tired of working their butt off and not getting paid.
So speaking of not getting paid,
what's up?
I hear
Let's talk about my career.
Yo,
I wasn't gonna be that.
You gotta chill.
Correct. Good Lord. How about we work backwards?
Yeah.
Start about a recent story in which someone wasn't getting paid.
Yes, let's go.
The Carlos section. Do you need to be reintroduced?
That's about the best intro song ever.
All right. How do you spell IA?
IA.
Yeah. Or IEA.
Because that might be the show title.
IA.
Babalu IA.
So what was the question?
Let's talk about someone on this panel not getting paid. And what's that like? And how do you handle that? And what's the deal with that in the industry?
Yeah, what do we do?
It happens to me so much that that I actually have to sit back and take a look at me and what I'm doing. Right? Because if this many people are doing that, what is it that I'm doing? And I think I figured it out.
What'd you figure out?
I'm way too trusting. I'm so excited to actually get something done and actually work towards something bigger and better that I'm just like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And I don't cover my own butt. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the things you're doing, you're going into it like anybody else would, though, as a legit business. Is it just like, is that getting clouded and you're not really seeing what the business looks like and being like, yo, a little shady? Or
no, quite honestly, I think it's
it's a right way. I think it's just bad luck.
I think it's just a run of bad luck. So the first one that I ever it's the first big one. I can't tell you that. Like when I was first starting in design and stuff, I knew I got taken a couple times, and it gets to the point where, is this really worth my time? And you just give up on it. But I did a project for I was contracted by a company that got a project from one of the big networks. And I worked on that project for a couple of months, I want to say. And they didn't pay. And so, long story short, after a while, we ended up in court, and I got my money. But the thing is, you have to go to court. And so for those of you guys out there that are out there, I'll come up with what I'm doing now. But if you're doing work, especially creative work for a company, you have to cover yourself as much as possible. And I'm talking, when you're giving samples, give a down-resed sample of what you're doing and put a watermark on it.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Good.
Um,
that's good advice.
Or even like what I started doing too is I'll do a Skype call and I'll show them through Skype. This is what I'm working on. What do you like? And then that way it's not coming off as like you don't trust them or anything. It comes off as let's have a conversation about what I have now. And that way you get this interaction and you're starting to build rapport with this company and
Right.
stuff. But then the question is, okay, so that was the first one. The second one was when I came to San Francisco, I was working for a company and they had me as contract and they said, if you do good in the first month, we'll talk about bringing you on full time. I was like, all right, cool. Well, I was there for 3 months and they hadn't paid me for those 3 months. But I was so adamant about working, doing absolutely everything it took to get on full time. And so I just kept my head down, didn't necessarily need the money. So I was just like, all right, cool. And every time I go to talk to the owner about getting paid, he was like, oh, I'm out the door. You know, I'm traveling to whatever place. Right. And then he wasn't in the office all that often. And then the manager would say, oh, you have to talk to him. He's the one that does the paychecks and all this stuff. We ended up going to court and I ended up getting all my money. And then now is another one where there's a company that I was actually hired on full time. They just decided that they didn't want to pay anyone. And it wasn't just me. It was like the whole San Francisco team, and some folks in Colombia aren't getting paid either. And all kinds of stuff is happening. So if you're doing work for a company and they owe you money, especially in California does not play around with workers' rights and getting paid and stuff like that. So there's always something you can do. And now that and a lot of times is just either finding a lawyer, or there's a website that I use whenever this stuff pops up. It's called smallclaims.com. You can file small claims as long as in California, the limit is $10,000. So as long as it's under $10,000, you can go to small claims court. If you're actually working full time, you have to go to the labor board and handle the business through the labor board. And the labor board, they do a really good job, and it doesn't really cost you anything except time. So now what I'm doing, because now I'm hard-headed and I haven't quit yet. So what I'm doing now is when I'm doing work, I ask for half up front, and then before you get anything of high resolution, or even like I've been asked, I might be working on an animation and they like a part of an animation. They want to use that part of the video for another project. Mm-hmm. I look at that as a completely separate project. Mm-hmm. And I don't send them anything that's high resolution or anything like that. They don't need high resolution until they pay for high resolution. Right. And this isn't me trying to badmouth or trying to be this is me just explaining this is the way that business works. Yeah. Right. Yeah. If I'm in the market for a car, I'm not gonna ask you to let me test drive a car and then I get to take it home and kick the wheels for a week and a half and then do all kinds of things and then bring it back, or just not even pay for it. Right. It's just how business is done. So, so I might send, since I'm working with motion and video, what I'm doing is I'll either do a Skype call and we'll take a look at the video on Skype, or I send them something that's like 320 by 280, because they don't necessarily, or you can watermark it. Yeah, so you have to use technology to your benefit to protect yourself.
It's good advice.
Yeah, and then there's some folks that they're going to pressure you. They're going, oh, we have this tight deadline and all this stuff, and all that fine. That's all fine and good, but you don't get this until you pay. And if that company doesn't understand that, you might not want to work for that company anymore.
Yeah. So how is that affected? Because I mean, do these clients still do the whole 30-day pay thing?
I don't do that. You don't have to.
No, you don't have to. I'm just asking if that's.
I don't. It says okay. So I have proposals and I have invoices, and so on my proposal, it says on there, 50% due before I start.
Yep.
And then, 50%, the other 50%, or I think I might even have it broken down at 25% at some time and another 25% at the end. But even that's just, I like to keep it nice and simple. Give me 50% up front. I'll start working. When we're done, before I give you the video file, because this is something that we need to talk about. Before I give you the video file, you need to give me the other part of the money.
Yeah.
What was I going to say about, files. You don't give your people files, like
source
After
files.
Effects files, source files. I don't give those either. Because what they could do is go in there and make some changes. They all they have to do is go to Fiverr and find someone there, and they send your files, and then they're making another project off of the work that you did.
Yep.
Right. So now, and that's never really in the, I guess, scope of the project where I have to hand over files. You want a video file, you want an illustration, you want whatever. I'll give you the final version of whatever you're looking for. But you don't get my source files.
It's totally fair.
No, it's totally fair. I've heard
Unless they pay extra.
We talked about this at work too, or you get a version of the source files, because then it gets into the point of like, here, I just had that happen today where a client wanted a source file because they wanted to recreate one of the splash pages for an AR app that we're doing so they can put it on an LED screen. So they asked for the Photoshop file with layers and stuff. So we made a version of it for them, but we didn't give them the original one. So because then there's other things like, okay, cool. What if you got a motion project in After Effects, whatever, and you used a bunch of plugins and stuff like that? I've heard from other podcasts where clients might ask for those plugins and stuff like that, and they just totally out of bounds. Like, give it to them. Give it to them. They're gonna spin their wheels on trying to recreate it, and then come back to you anyway because they need you to add extra stuff to it. So the best thing is to like either make a version of them, or don't give them at all, or make a version of it. And sometimes they can't use it anyway because of the plugins you use, because of all the way your files are set up.
And if they came to you to do that project, why did they need the source files? They don't know what they're doing. That's why they came to you.
Yeah, sometimes they'll try to give it to somebody in house.
Yeah, they want to give it. They want to give it to somebody else. So
we've had a video projects from big corporations to happen, and then they end up coming back to us saying, "Yeah, can you guys just do this?" Cool. Yeah. Here's a change order. You can do it. Yeah, we can do. Or here's this, and here's the thing. How much it costs to do it? Yeah. But they try to like allow another guy in house to do it, and that poor person's not going to have the same knowledge you did sometimes. So sometimes it's more cost effective for companies just to ask for a revision. Pay for the revision and get it over with instead of trying to take it over.
And that's just I guess some sort of a pro tip where if you're trying to find work, the last thing you want to do is give away work.
Yeah.
So they came to you once, they should be able to come to you a second time. You've already proven that you can get the work done. So if you're giving away the files that you worked on, you're just kind of setting this. You're setting the table for them not needing you.
Right.
Well, and I mean, it's weird that so many of these things, so many of these types of freelance gigs struggle with this, because I mean, it's so well ironed out in many other areas of the industry. I mean, like writers are, a lot of writers will work into their contract that they do their own revisions. They require it. If you want revisions, you have to come to me. I mean, a lot of, like, in the print and magazine, like, illustrations are, licensed per use per project. Like if New Yorker commissions you for, a drawing of President Trump doing whatever, like, it's going to be used for that and that only. If they want to then take that artwork and then use it for some other property or project, they have to license it from you for that as well. Like, people are under the misconception that, a client's hiring me to do this cartoon character of them, then they have full 100% access rights to it. And that's not necessarily true.
Right.
I mean, obviously it's all dependent on what you work out with the client, but don't fall under the impression that, you're doing this for hire and they own you, and then your work is entirely their property.
Right.
Because the fact of the matter is, actually, the law states by default that it's not, unless otherwise stated, that the creator of the artwork still retains a certain amount of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's great. That's great too.
Unless they hire you to do the specific character, and they pay you, and it's all part, exactly. Because that's one of the other things that's starting to happen is, again, Atlanta. Someone from Atlanta has reached out, and we're going to be working on some stuff together. But I'm going into it with the understanding he's going to pay me to help develop his idea. But the characters that we create, he's paid me to give him the rights.
Right. And by the way, we should caveat that this we're speaking American issue. If any of the Aussie listeners have any info on their illustration, freelancing, licensing, I'd be curious to hear how it works elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to Carlos.
Yeah.
How'd you get into freelancing illustration? We're working backwards here.
Yeah, you're doing good.
I know.
Keep it up.
I've always done freelance, some way, shape, or form, whether I've had full-time gigs or not. It's just always been a thing. Someone that always needs a drawing. Someone that always needs a website. Someone that always needs whatever it is that you do. And so it's always been a thing.
So by always, like, what was the first freelance thing that you got paid for?
Oh, that was way back when I was 9.
9, you got paid? You got paid at 9?
Yeah.
I did hustling on the streets.
I'm telling you, it's been a long time. I've been rolling my sleeves up. I did what was it, the wax, what is that called? Not crayons, but pastels. Craypa. The oil pastels.
Craypa.
I hated when my teacher would call it craypas.
When I was a kid, no, what was that? That was, yeah, I had art class. When was that though? Anyway, it was an art class, maybe not as young as 9, but not much later than that. I did this really nice, I'm assuming it was nice because I eventually got paid for it, but I did this, I'd used the wax, that word that I can't remember again, pastels. And I did this nice big flower and the stem and all kinds of really cool stuff, blended it in real nice. And I gave it to my mom and she loved it. And I think she took it to work or she had a picture of it, something like that. And one of her work friends was like, "Oh my God, that's beautiful. Do you think you would make me one?" And so I think she gave me like $50 and I did another one.
What? $50 as a 9-year-old, that would have rocked my world.
It was either like $20 or $50 or something like that. And I was just like, more money, more money. And that
That's
was
like,
it. Like that was
that's like 20 Ninja Turtles.
right.
Man, I would have went to town.
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember what I did with that money, but probably bought candy. That's a thing.
So your mom was into the art when you were a kid? Your mom was cool with that?
She liked that I drew,
When
but
it made you money.
yeah, exactly. What's funny is my mom and you know how accurate that is. No, my mom was pretty she was pretty supportive, but not when it came to a full-time job because we grew up, everyone we knew worked at the car factory or whatever. And my mom always said, I have an older brother that's just a year older than me. But she said, one of you guys is going to be a doctor and one of you guys is going to be a lawyer. And I was like, all right, bet. I'm in.
Okay.
That's all I knew.
Is your brother a doctor or a lawyer?
Hell no. My brother is an electrician. He runs his own company in Chicago. And then
there you go.
I'm me. So we fell a little short of the doctor lawyer thing. But the cool thing is we don't have that school debt because doctors and lawyers have so much debt.
This is true.
Yeah. But yeah, like come to like I forget everything that I've done until I talk to my sister Mimi. And Mimi's always like, "Oh, you remember you did this, or you did that, and you did like I carved a tennis shoe out of a bar of soap."
That's cool.
She loves to talk about that. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I did that." Or like I have some older cousins. One of them had art class and she was one of the assignments was she was supposed to draw peppers using like a red pepper using colored pencils. So I would do all her homework.
You're a ghost artist.
Yeah.
Ghost artist, Carlos.
Yeah.
So this was more of a thing that you just did regardless of what other folks said or wanted, or you just kind of did it and popped out of nowhere?
Right. I've always been making things, not necessarily just art, but I make Cuban sandwiches. I make my own sourdough bread. I made
That's right, you do.
I made a tennis shoe out of soap. So yeah. Go ahead.
How did making things lead to your first job, and were they related? Or schooling rather, or whatever came first? How did it unfold?
Yeah, and that's what's funny because my whole entire life I was waiting for technology to happen. I didn't know this, but I was waiting for technology to happen because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But when it happened, I was like, this is it. So I wanted to get into photography, but I didn't have the money. I wanted to get into, well, actually, I wanted to get into animation, but I thought, quite honestly, poor kids from Chicago don't become animators.
Right, right.
It's just not a thing, let alone little poor brown kids. Like, we can go back to the conversation that we were having about Black Panther. Like, I never saw anyone that I knew doing what I wanted to do. And so you just like go on in life. And I was like, okay, well, everyone I know works at a car factory, but that dude is missing a hand. That dude is missing some fingers. And I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do or be. I knew I've always liked drawing. I've always liked creating things, but I didn't know that I would do anything like I am. And I knew that I didn't want to grow up like that. I like my fingers.
I like my fingers.
Yeah.
The show title. So it's more like, if you're not, like you were just talking about with Black Panther, if you're not seeing it around you, it's hard to know that it's a possibility.
Yeah. Like I loved Flintstones. I loved Looney Tunes. I love all those. And I used to draw them on whatever paper I would have. But I just thought it was magic. I didn't know that people actually set up and drew a bunch of drawings together, and I didn't know that was even possible.
Yeah.
And this is before the internet. This is before like any of that stuff. So to be able to go to, and my dad escaped Cuba. So he had a whole bunch of responsibility that he was young and was just trying to figure out his life. My mom was young, trying to figure out her life. So if I would have gone to them and been like, hey, I want to be an animator, they'd be like, what is that?
Right. It's art seems to tend to come as like a luxury thought. It's not it can be, but it's not generally thought of as like a practical solution. It seems that's kind of the pattern that I see among.
And no one that they knew, did animation. So it's not even like they could be like, well, okay, well, we see Hector over there. He's a great to happen. So
yeah, right.
Again, everyone we knew, like literally everyone in my family, not literally everyone in my family, but most of my family is either a doctor, a nurse, or a teacher. We might have like, well, we have an electrician, we might have a couple lawyers, whatever, but everyone is the very, that standard. When you grow up, what are you going to be? I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a lawyer. Right. It wasn't, I mean, I was in my 20s or 30s when we were all sitting around a Thanksgiving table. And I think I've told this story before. We're sitting around the Thanksgiving table, and my younger cousin wanted to go to Art Institutes in Schaumburg.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're all sitting around, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. And my cousin goes, oh, but what's he going to do with that degree? I was like, I graduated with that very same degree. even after I was well into my profession, they still didn't understand that you can make pretty good money doing this stuff.
Yeah. It's messed up because it's just about them not understanding what it was.
Exactly. There's no exposure to it. There's no exposure to it. Right. And when's the last time you heard, oh, that magnificent animation studio in Chicago? And this is Chicago in the 70s, when like now you can go to Chicago and it's all nice and clean. The downtown area is very safe. When I was growing up, you go down to downtown Chicago at night, you might as well just go ahead and give your car up. It was gross. It was dirty. It was violent. The 70s were like a cowboy movie, but with really more like with cooler clothes.
Were they cooler clothes?
Oh yeah. Silk shirts with them big ass collars that came down like this. Boy, hell yeah, dude.
The crazy crease on the pants. Probably
high pants. Yeah. So 70s were crazy. Because it was, culturally speaking, it was after the 60s, and 60s there was a lot of racial turmoil that was happening. The 70s were where it was starting to blend in together.
Mm.
And everyone started like disco and all that stuff was
So
all
when was
about
disco? Was that like mid 70s or late, like after
Disco-
75?
disco started kicking in like late 60s, early 70s.
Okay,
And
so
then
it's
it
early
just took
still.
over it took over all of the 70s.
So when did it switch for Chicago where that turned into more house music?
That was
Because wasn't that like
house music didn't hit until like in the 80s.
so 80s? Because weren't they like
Yeah.
taking remnants
Because
of
house
disco?
music is basically the child of disco.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
So disco, like this happened in Chicago, where the rock station in Chicago
Mm-hmm.
had everyone come to the White Sox stadium and burn disco records. They're yelling disco is dead. And I remember seeing these t-shirts that said disco is dead and all this other stuff. Right.
Mhm.
So then the good times of disco, the good thing that came out of disco, and I love disco music because my parents listened to it and everything. So there's a special place in my heart for disco music, but there was a blending of cultures that happened with disco that hasn't happened in recent history.
Mm-hmm.
Black people were dancing with white people. Spanish people were all in the clubs. Everyone was there. Everyone was focusing on having a good time. And that's what disco was about. That's what house music is about. That's what hip hop music is about. People coming together. We might be different, but together we're cool. And so that's what was happening in the 70s. Like there was not a lot of focus on being successful. There was not a lot of focus on like my Snapchats and all that stuff. None of that stuff was happening. You still had to get up and walk to the TV to change the TV, right? There was no Cintiqs. There was no Intuoses. There was none of that stuff. Like you'd have to get up, sharpen your pencil, sit down on a big stack of papers and draw away. And that was one of the things that I did was my brother and I would always challenge each other to pretty much everything. And so drawing was one of those things. And so we would draw the same thing, and then we'd take it to school, take our papers to school. And then all of our classmates would have to put a little stick on the paper who they liked best on the back, right?
That's hardcore.
Yeah. So then we'd get home after school and we'd count all the little sticks. And I'm not going to say I won them all. I'm going to say I won a handful.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty good. And that's, that planted the seed of wanting to create stuff.
Wanting to.
Not knowing how to.
Right. Because what happened?
Again, like I tell you, the cost of stuff.
Right.
Just the pure cost of paper. My mom would come home with stacks of paper from work, and I'd draw on them and stuff. And you got to make sure that it's good, because if you run out of paper, dude, that's it. You're done drawing for the day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we were that poor. We were that broke that like everything that you did, you had to be financially conscious of it.
So you went to Juilliard?
Yes. No.
Yeah, he said that with yes. Great set.
Let's see. So then we in high school, I would always get A's in art class. And then some of my pieces would be submitted into different art contests and stuff like that. And so you start realizing that, hey, maybe we're onto something. But then again, you have no exposure. You have no connection to anyone that's doing anything bigger than just, here's $20. Draw me a picture of a flower.
Right.
And so, yeah, if you don't know where to go, you don't know where you're going. And I knew for a fact that I didn't want to continue living the way that we were living. Just everything was super financially tight. And then when I was in high school at Roosevelt High School in Chicago, an Army recruiter came and was like, "Hey, what are your plans for after high school?" I was like, "I don't know, probably just work,
Lose my fingers.
lose my fingers at a factory."
I don't know, man.
I was
I'm
actually
really counting on losing my fingers.
Kind of got this good thing
this
going right here.
This is how crazy my early childhood was. I tried out for the high school basketball team and I made it, but I couldn't play because I couldn't afford the tennis shoes that matched everyone else's.
Yeah. And they weren't going to make any exception.
No, you gotta. That's all part of it,
right?
And this was after getting kicked out of a couple of church schools because we couldn't afford church school. So, so then the recruiter came up and was like, "Hey, what are you thinking?" Da da da. I was like, I know I want to do something because this sucks. And then he was giving me the whole spiel of joining the Army, and he's like, "Yeah, you won't have to, live with your mom, and you get all these benefits, and when you're in the Army, you'll be making money. You can send some money to your mom and all this stuff." So everything just made complete sense for me.
Started to make sense for you,
yeah. And I've always been independent, and so I don't need a lot. I know that my next steps, as long as my next steps are leading towards the ultimate goal, I'll continue moving. And really so cool. This one made sense to me because one, I'm going to get out of, I thought of it like this, quite honestly. I was like, the thing that really made me want to do this was my mom needs a break from having kids. And so I'm going to leave to alleviate the pressures of having to feed 3 kids. And it was just the 4 of us. It was my mom, my brother, me, and my sister. And so, so I joined the Army, and then this is what's crazy, huh?
Side note, did you talk to your family about joining the Army, or did you make the decision on your own? I talked to my mom about my stepdad too. Richard had a lot to do with it too. Because he was in the military, he was in the Army before, and I went and I just telling my mom, like, this dude came to talk to me. It seems like a really good solution. Does it make sense to you? Okay, so
and I legit told her, like, you need a vacation from having all this responsibility. I'm ready to do this if you think it makes sense. And then she was talking to, I call him my stepdad, but it was her boyfriend. He's the one that was like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense, and it's a good move. And if you don't know exactly where you're going in life, this is a really good move because you're not stagnant. And if you stay in the same place for too long, you don't move. Like, not doing something is so easy to do.
Right.
And so I was 16 years old, and I took the Army entrance exam. And this is how I knew, I think it was the right path, and I knew I was onto something because I took here in the States, when you take the test, you have to take a test to be able to get into the Army. and I scored so high on the test that they wanted me to join officer school.
Oh, nice.
I think you get if you score a 115 on this test, and generally speaking, I think people usually get like 60s, 70s in there. If you get 100, if you get a 115, they want you for officer school. Well, I scored a 119.
Nice.
The recruiter came to the house and said, Carlos made everyone else in the van. So what they did was they had this van and they filled it with a bunch of brown kids, and then took us, a bunch of poor brown kids, took us to the Army station, whatever, administered the test, and then they graded it and they came back and they told you, well, I got a 119. He's like, Carlos made everyone in that van look like a box of rocks.
Everybody else is just regular old infantrymen.
Now the messed up part about that whole thing was he assumed that I was a box of rocks.
Yeah.
Right.
They were just looking to fill. They're looking
You
to
need
fill some
pawns.
spots.
Yeah, they're seeing
Right.
pawns. Yeah.
Right.
And then I go in there and blow this test out of the water. And he's looking. He's like, "Damn, this kid's only 16."
In his head, this is gonna be really good for me.
Right.
Diamond in the rough.
Right.
So you were a 16-year-old general.
I was 16-year-old lieutenant general. Yes.
So
Here's another. Hang on. Here's another funny part of joining the Army. I signed the papers to join the Army on my 17th birthday.
Craziness.
On my birthday, and the guy, the recruiter, he's like, "And what's your birthday?" I said, "March 21st." He's like, "No, your birthday, not the date." No, that's today's my birthday. He goes, "Hell of a way to spend your birthday."
Yeah. Now
Yeah, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so then the Army happened.
So did you do the officer school?
No. To be an officer, they wanted you to sign up for 8 years. And since I was so young, you can join the Army here in the States at 18. But I was talking to them. I was 16. I graduated high school early. So I was 16 talking to these folks. And they're like, talking to my mom, they're like, "Yeah, he did a really good job on the test. But to go to officer school, it's going to be 8 years, 4 years going to school, and then 4 years active duty." And my mom was like, "That's a long time. I don't know if I want to live my life that many years without him."
Right.
And then we narrowed it down, kept going. So she negotiated. I was in the Army for about 3 years.
Your mom negotiated with the Army?
She negotiated 3 years. Isn't it standard 4?
Yeah.
You don't know his mom.
My mom is tough, dude. My mom.
Cool.
My mom is one badass. She's amazing. But so I went home, or I went out and did my time and came back. And then my first job out of the Army, because I think we talked about this before too. I wanted to be a psychologist because I'm very interested in how people think and how their brain works, and I'm always watching people and like dissecting all the stuff that they do. So that stuff was really cool for me. So my first job out of the Army, it took stages, but I ended up eventually being a mental health technician at a hospital near my house. And I had patients and everything, and talking to them and learning about them and trying to help them figure out life, which is hilarious because I was only like 21, 22. What the hell do I know about life?
You're still trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had patients, and I'm talking to just all kinds of folks, and one of my patients was an elderly woman that almost died.
Wow.
I walked into her room. It was late. It was probably midnight, 1 o'clock, whatever. I was doing third shift. And I walked into her room and she couldn't breathe. Long story short, if I wouldn't have called the EMTs, she would have died in her room. I was like, this is a lot of pressure. I don't want people that I'm okay, because you can't try to fix people. You can't talk to people that much and not be connected to them in a way.
Yeah.
And so this lady almost passed away, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I don't want this anymore. Not only that, but we would be sitting around and I would do things like, there's a couple guys that I worked with. I would draw little cartoons of them, and then it was a wanted poster. I made this whole wanted poster and basically saying, these two guys are wanted for drinking all the coffee and not making coffee again, not filling the pot and doing all this stuff. And so they liked it, and they're like, you have a talent. You really have to follow up on this. Besides, there's no money in this psychiatry stuff or psychology stuff. You just get out. You deserve more. And yeah, and that's when I was like, well, all right, cool. I went to I ended up moving to Miami, actually.
Miami.
And that's where I went to college, and I started all my like the prerequisites, and I was going to focus on psychology anyway because I'm hard-headed. And again, I don't know anyone that's doing any kind of creative anything. I don't know any animators. I don't know anything like that. Hung out with a photographer maybe once or twice, but still not anything. Not anyone that I can go to and talk to about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so Miami came and went. I came back home, Chicago. And there's Triton College, actually. They had a program on photography, and then they had another one on like advertising and design work. And I was like, I could do photography because I really like photography, but if I do the design one, chances are I'm going to learn photography because photography is part of advertising. Bam, I get two for the price of one. So I went to school for design, and one of my instructors actually worked at Leo Burnett. He was an ad guy for Leo Burnett, and he would actually show or give us assignments, and then we would critique, and he would ask for like 4 pitches, and then he would pick the one that he would want you to follow up on. But probably more times than not, I was being a real hardhead. And so I would go with the one that I felt stronger about. And so I would do a whole campaign off of what I thought was better. And eventually this dude goes, you don't listen to anything. I would do storyboards and stuff for commercials and stuff. And he was, if I didn't have an attitude, I think he would have liked my stuff a lot more. But when you start off on the wrong foot, it's hard to catch up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was that. And eventually he goes, what do you want to do with this? Like, where are you going with this? I was like, well, I wouldn't mind working where you work. It sounds like a lot of fun. He goes, I don't know if you're going to ever make it there. You just know it's not going to happen. And I looked at him and I was like, okay, bet. I see what you're saying.
I'll show you. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the kind of guy that you can say you're not going to do that, because if I want to, I will.
Right.
Yeah. A focused me is a dangerous me. But anyway, yeah, I remember that very clearly when he was just like, you'd never make it in the ad industry. I was like, all right, cool. So
did he just say that because he was a skeptical, or just
I think it was more just I Not that I refused, but I thought I knew better. Like I would do campaigns for certain ad approaches that I felt better about. And he would pick something else. So I wasn't playing according to his rules.
Right.
So I'm sure he didn't really appreciate that attitude, which I don't blame him. Now that I'm older and I've been around the block a couple of times, I'm like, okay, I get it. But teachers aren't there. A lot of times teachers are there to help you and guide you because they have experience that you don't have, or they see things that you haven't seen or that you haven't experienced. So sometimes you just need to be quiet.
Listen, do.
Yeah. So while I was at Triton, me and a couple of friends of mine started the art club. And it's funny because I go through some of the things that I've done, and it's like a common thread. I started the art club. Oh, and then Nymphog, and then Down in Front, and then Sketch Zone, right? So anyway, so when I was at Triton, I met a friend of mine that you guys know, Russ.
Oh, that's where you know Russ from. Okay.
Yeah. So Russ actually, he was going to school for design as well, but then he learned about. This is how crazy this is. This story is bananas. Every time I think about it, it blows my mind. Do you guys remember? Jack might not know him. Charlie might know him. Do you remember Jace? Do you remember Jason Fleck?
I know the name. I don't think I ever met him.
Okay. So Jason was working at Best Buy. Russ was buying a DVD or something, but like an animated movie DVD. And Jason was there and happened to look over Russ's shoulder. And Russ is like, yeah, I'm going to go to school for this stuff. Or I want to go to school for this stuff, but I just don't know where to go. Jason had learned about Art Institute Schaumburg. And Jason was like, you might want to go check out this place because they're, it's a newer school. They're getting into animation and stuff like that now, so you might want to check it out. He went and checked it out, came back to Triton, told me all about
it. Wow. That's how it began.
Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, animation. There it is. Like, I didn't have the path, but now I'm starting to see the path.
Right.
But now I'm too deep into design and computers and stuff. Like, I'm just going to finish up at Triton and then I'm going to transfer. Well, Russ was like, I'm out. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do. There's no sense in
check. We're going to somewhere else.
Yeah. The record scratch. He packed his bags. So yeah. So I think I was at Triton for another 1 or 2 quarters while Russ was at AI. And then eventually when I finished at Triton, I transferred over everything to AI, and that's how I got there. And again, I went to an open house because Russ was going to go to an open house. So I was like, well, if they don't mind, can I go too? He's like, yeah, totally. So he got it all set up. So we went to the open house, and that's where there was like 3D Studio Max 1.3.
Oh,
3D Studio, just 3D Studio.
Yeah, 3D EPU.
DOS.
And so that's where I saw this guy. He had made a bunch of spheres and linked them together and started like moving it around like a caterpillar. I was like, oh, I'm in hook, line, and sinker.
Nice.
And this is back when and this is back when they still had portfolio reviews before you can get into the school.
That's the good one.
Yeah, and so I did the portfolio review, and I guess I scored well enough to where they even gave me like money towards my tuition and just everything.
Look at you, superstar.
Oh, that's because you didn't have the Nikes that match. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But there it was.
Jack! Savage. Oh, man.
Sorry.
Too funny.
So funny. This is so. Oh, yo, he said sorry before we rock. He was just like sorry. Like he knew it was good, but he was like sorry. Like
That's too good.
I'm still grabbing air to laugh, and he's sorry.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We'll see how he comes in like the lovable one. Everyone likes Jack.
He's like, no, you're not special.
He comes in with Babalu and Nikes.
You just sit down with Nikes and match. Give me something. Good.
So you did AI. Got it.
Wow.
This
is what's crazy. I don't think I always go to Richard Hyde because he's the one that always gave me my sanity check. Hey, Rich, take a look at this. Is this cool? And if it was garbage, he'd be like, dude, this is trash. But if it was good, he'd be like, yeah, that's really good. Right?
I don't want to yell what Richard Hyde was like.
I've always loved that dude. He's always been 100% honest, 100% motivating.
Yeah.
I was working, well, we'll get to that. Remind me about Richard Hyde when I was graduating.
Okay.
So kind of long story short, as I was going to school for 3D, Flash happened. And that's where I knew I belonged, because that was finally, like, Photoshop is fine, Illustrator's fine, all of that is fine. When Flash came out, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so I got really good at Flash. I started the Flash user group in the first Flash user group in Illinois, if I do.
Hey,
you fancy.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, and then once I learned Flash, that was it. Like, even though, okay, this is what I was going to say about my graduating and Richard Hyde. I had taken my portfolio, my 3D portfolio, and gone for an interview and gotten an internship at a local game company, not High Voltage, but another one.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the internship, and I was working in the video game industry. And I go to Richard Hyde and I said, do I have to do the portfolio show? I'm already working. He's like, yeah. And that was it. He turned around and walked away.
Yeah.
Wow.
He didn't want to hear excuses, none of that stuff. He's like, you think you're special? Okay.
Got you special right here.
So I just did a bunch of 3D stuff, put it out there. And then funny enough, I got noticed for my Flash work more than I did my 3D work. And the people that offered me a Flash job were paying me 3 times as much as the video game company was. Video game company offered me a yearly salary of $25,000.
What year is this?
1999.
Okay.
Guess what? You can't do shit. Pardon my French. I don't care who you are, especially living in the northwest suburbs of Illinois. $25,000 barely gets you. If you have a car payment, rent, groceries, that's it.
I know.
That's it.
Store managing job started off at assistant managing job at Hollish started off at 26. That was me
Yeah.
about an hourly into it, and I was like, yeah, but that's all you're doing. You're budgeting for all your lights in your apartment,
Right.
little apartment.
There, you're not doing anything fancy at all.
And you're doing all these for your. That's back when all these are just straight like overflow groceries. That's what we call them.
Right.
Only a couple weeks out. Like, but you can get a lot for $100. You can eat maybe for like almost a month on one person.
Yeah.
So that's it. You got $100 for your groceries.
That's it.
So like 3 times.
And everyone's looking at you like, why you look so skinny? Because I'm
Yeah.
hungry.
Don't be eating that like don't be going out to eat IHOP or either of the 3 or 4 times a week. You just blew your budget for the month if you're trying to go out.
Listen, when I was in school, I bartended my way through AI, and I was had so little money that I almost got kicked out of AI for not paying my tuition. The only reason that I didn't is because Wayne Corpix, we've talked about him. Wayne Corpix was looking for an RA, and Joe
Berger?
Who?
Is it Berger?
No, the money guy. He was one of the finance guys at school.
Oh, you're talking about, okay. Yeah.
The three of us sat at a well, actually, no, it was just me and Joe sat down, and Joe was like, hey, the tuition is your tuition is getting kind of out of hand. I was like, listen, I'm going to school and I'm working and I'm not doing anything except that. I can barely pay my rent. So this is what we're going to do. Kick me out because I can't afford this. He's like, well, no, we really like having you around. I was like, I don't want to be a jerk, but I'm ready to go. So if you guys want, just I'm doing everything that I can. So I'm leaving everything up to you guys. You figure it out. And I got up and I walked out, and I apologized for being rude and everything, but there's only so much you can do.
Right.
And so he came back and called me back into the office a couple days later, and Wayne Corpix was there. And long story short, I got an RA job, which helped a ton.
I like me some Wayne Corpix.
I do too. Awesome. I do too.
He had a way of finding people that needed jobs like that, but good people though, good, not just because you needed to be in school, but your character also.
It was a moment of serendipity because, I was a good student, ex-military, a little bit older. I wasn't that much older than everyone. I was probably a couple years older just because of going to the Army and then going to Triton and stuff. But for the most part, I fit the bill. And Wayne is like, you want this job? I was like, is it going to help the bill? He said, yeah. I was like, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was AI. Graduated. Moved on doing multimedia stuff. A Flash guy for a long while. All the while doing the Flash group.
When did you switch to being the Flash programmer guy?
It was.
When did you finally? Because I know that you talked about this before, where like it got to a point where you started to work in Flash for so long that you never
forgot how to use the interface.
Yeah, you didn't open Flash anymore.
Yeah,
you're opening,
Flash
editors.
Builder and yeah.
Is that a necessity? Getting to be less visual. I mean, I wouldn't say less visual, but yeah, less artistic designer and more developer, if you will.
The path that I took, it ended up going that way. But it wasn't like I ever stopped designing. It was I was designing, and then you're working with some developers, and then you end up picking up some of what they're doing, and all of a sudden the momentum starts picking up, and all of a sudden you don't open Flash anymore. And then you become a hardcore developer,
Right.
which was bananas. So one of my biggest leap into the development end of it was when one of the people that would come to the Flash group, he needed help with his company. And this was while I was at school. So I went out into the world and was working as a web guy. And then I got a job as I was doing the web stuff, but then I was also the project manager. All the while I'm still doing the Flash group. And then that company laid me off right before Christmas.
Right.
And just because they didn't have work, it was a very small direct marketing company. Listen how crappy they were. Like, I'm telling you, like my career, how have I not quit? This company that I worked for, I went to take vacation time, and it said there that I had like 7 minutes of vacation. And I was like, how do I have 7 minutes of vacation? They're like, well, whenever you show up late, we have to deduct it from your vacation time.
Oh my God.
Like, so it could be a blizzard outside, and if I'm 10 minutes late, they would deduct 10 minutes from my vacation time.
Oh my gosh.
And then if I came back from lunch 5 minutes late, they would deduct 5 minutes from vacation time. And so I confronted the owner. I was like, hey, can we talk about this? Like, how do I only have 7 minutes? She told me, when you're late in the morning and when you're late at lunch. I was like, but what happens like if I've stayed here working till 6, 7, 8 o'clock all the time. Everyone leaves at 5, and I'm still here working at 8. She goes, oh, we don't know what's going on after 5. And I was like, oh, this is horrible.
Oh my God.
Right.
This is so terrible. So when they laid me off, it was a moment. It was just, it needed to happen because I couldn't work there anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
It was toxic.
I hate that line. I've had that line said to me, like, "Oh, you did," or "You should tell us when that happens." I'm like, "Well, you should know."
Right. If you know what time I'm coming in, don't you think you should know what time I leave?
And I worked at a place for like 4 or 5 years, and hardly ever late outside of like a car accident at lunch, and like I overslept once, because I left at 7 o'clock that morning from being there at night. And I told my now wife, I said, call me from work and wake me up at 9 so I can be at work by 10 or whatever. And she called me, and I got up and I laid right back down, because I was that tired, like it was like when your body says, nope, you're going to sleep until 10 o'clock today. Like I got up, went through the motions, went to the bathroom, came right back out the bathroom and laid back down. Like felt like almost involuntary. Didn't even think about it. And then woke back up at like 10:30, like, and luckily I lived 5 minutes away from my job. So I was at work by 10:08, or 10:10, or 10, if I woke up at 10:30, 10:40, 10:45, I was at work walking in, crazy. And then I get a call from the art director office like, hey, yeah,
we noticed you were
reception told me you was
3 minutes late.
You're running in here this morning. I'm like, yeah, such and such. Yeah, I was running in here. I overslept. Sorry about that. Overslept. Well, you gotta. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Then I thought, Charlie, you're not having this conversation. No, we're not gonna have this conversation. So I was like, I gotta stop you right there, real quick. Do you know what time I left? And he's like, no, we don't know. No, I didn't know that. Oh, you yeah, tell me tell me those things. Like, keep me in the loop. So sorry you had to do that. I'm like you don't know how your projects are running, art director. Like,
what I don't get is
it's weird. Like, why do people do that? I hate that. That's like
what I don't get is if you're that controlling, if you're that what's the word I'm looking for? Minute, I guess.
I don't understand.
In your management, if you're that minute in your management, you're creating a toxic environment. You're not.
Yeah, you are.
I'm an adult.
Yeah.
If I'm late for 5 minutes, it means that traffic was bad.
Mm-hmm.
It means that I could see if I was showing up 45 minutes late every single day.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not me.
And especially if you know the culture there, if you know that there's people working past hours to get stuff done, even though they only make a salary for 40. Because the culture was like my lead, which was one of my best friends at the time. That's the culture. That's what he was known for. He stayed late. He was an overworker, and still works there today. He'd work and make it look nice, coming up under him, you wanted to work at that same quality, not necessarily work late, but you wanted your stuff to look as nice as what he was able to produce.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the culture of that team was we're going to make this look nice, regardless of how long it takes.
I think that's one of the things that creative folks have to be careful with.
Yeah.
Is that because that culture is very rampant where you almost the late nights and the I didn't go home. Like there was plenty of times in my career where I hadn't gone home yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a couple days into whatever project, because you're trying to deliver, and you almost wear it as a badge of honor. Like, look what I've done to myself.
Yeah. Definitely like that for a while. And then I don't know, it's weird. But then it creates a toxic atmosphere with people on the outside or management who don't, either, comment like they did with you or did with me, or they comment or they use it as leverage, because you're going to do it anyway because they know how much you want to make it look nice. So then that stupid Friday come around, right? And you probably have had this, and you've told me stories about this at other places you worked at. Friday come around, that producer comes around, hey, so how's this level coming? You don't care about how my level's coming. Right. You don't even want to look at it. So I take you through it like you normally do. You show off, you show it through it. This is where I'm at. You can tell when your eyes are glazing over. They don't know what you're talking about in terms of technical stuff, but they just want to see the level. And they're like, cool. So we're only a couple weeks out for this to get this done. And how you think you're gonna work through these things to get it done? Well, I'm gonna do this, and this. Cool. Okay, cool. How they trying to tell you because they can't say to stay or come in
right
on Saturday, but they can say stuff like I'm trying to think of the words they used to use because it always it always be like something. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember because it's a really ambiguous term. It's like you're not staying late, you're not working. Are you gonna? I think he would ask, am I going to come check on the render or something on tomorrow or something because he knew I lived close or something like that. Something to get to talk about stuff that's happening over the weekend without asking me to stay.
Right.
But then after a while, it became assumed, and you said that's the worst part too.
And it's funny because they don't come out and say work yourself until your eyes melt.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had like guilt trips. I've had
they emphasize the due date.
Mm-hmm.
Really needs to be knocked out of the park and done by Monday. And it's Friday afternoon at 4. Really, we really got to have this done by Monday morning.
Right. The client is really,
this will put us in a great position.
Really pushing us to do this.
Yeah.
but we are running what 2.5 hours now.
Ooh.
So let's do round 2.
Yeah, you got a lot more story.
Right?
Oh yeah,
we're only at the beginning of your.
You got a lot more story.
I think I just left college now.
Yeah.
You haven't even moved with Jack yet. Okay.
Nope. Nope. I haven't even moved to Jack yet. Anyway, so yeah, we're running long, but we'll finish up next week. So for now, let's do. I have a really good one this week.
You had a good one last week.
This one is so completely unique. It's going to blow you guys' mind.
Nice. He sounds like me. Awesome. Let's see it.
No, but this is like, this is a, this, what?
Cocky.
Oh,
Cocky.
You said it like 3 times at the right time.
That is not what I heard.
I was like, whoa.
I was like, boo, what?
Oh, look at this.
Yes, so completely different.
Paper. I love it.
Is this paper?
Love it already.
Takahashi.
Look at that. Look at that picture of her.
She's
She loves what she does.
She's like, that's right. I make it out of paper.
Hey.
She makes, yeah.
Totally. She's like, I make shit out of paper.
Yes, she's actually laughing at me saying, haha, look at all the paper I have, you poor brown bastard.
Oh,
This is cool, though. This is really cool.
and she animates with it, right? Kind of, or just
Puts it together.
Yeah, it's a stop motion thing, yeah.
So it is paper, right?
Yeah, it's paper. This is not computer at all.
Lighting. What kind of lighting? This is just all around great.
Now hold up, because she gets into it. Look at, we got some fried eggs with some.
How's she making that
tortillas.
cuts like that? Look at the little bevel around the egg.
Yeah,
It's like it's rounded
there's some tools that she uses to almost press the curve in there. But wait, because it gets better. Bam.
Ooh,
Yo,
that's clever.
it's strips of paper, but it looks like it's
That's clever.
ripped.
Nah.
Keep going. This is good. Oh,
I
look
love
at the
it.
little fold in the
Love it.
fabric.
Actually,
Look at
I'm
the
gonna go ahead
cotton.
and go ahead and lie. This is her standing in a snowstorm quietly.
Yo, somebody did that for our front. Instantly they're coming on the show.
Yeah, we wouldn't even have to wait. Here's a cup of coffee with some.
Look at the
leaves
pine
in it.
cone. Look at the bevels. How
Yeah.
long does it take her?
Oh my God. I didn't even know. That's how crazy that was. I was so focused on the coffee cup. I was like, what is he talking about? Pine cone. And then I look over. I literally thought that was a real pine cone. It didn't even register. That's paper too.
I'm
Great.
telling you.
I mean, look at the leaves. Look at the ruffles in the leaves. Look at
Look
the
at
leaves. Look at his head. Look at this dude.
She made paper cutouts of my sourdough bread.
Man, get out of here.
Some people are just
Look at
crazy.
the bagel sandwich. So yeah, she does like full on like
What is
window
that?
installations and stuff.
No,
She
no,
did
no,
the
no.
train, not the tracks.
Oh,
The train is made out of paper. I don't think the track.
No,
the
those
tracks
are
are
those-
wood.
Those are those Brio trains or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
That's cool.
A little crab. I'm trying to get to because she has like these really big windows. So there they go.
what is that? What is
Like
that? Is
she goes to work.
that paper?
Yeah. Well, no, the people are real. But
No.
Okay, cool.
For real, they
so
look,
all of this,
they look like
all of
cutouts.
this back
It did
here,
on the end
all
look
of
like
this back
paper.
here is all paper.
All her friends look like they make like she makes paper. They make paper all the
We
time.
make
too.
paper.
I feel like it's a weird version of Friends that all make
Look at
paper.
the cafetera. How do you say that in English?
Coffee glue?
No, percolator. Percolator.
Time for the percolator.
Oh man, going old school. Time for the percolator.
So
Cool stuff.
Does she live in Ohio?
She lives out here. I think she lived in. I don't know where she's originally from.
Okay.
I think she lived in Chicago for a hot second, and now she lives in San Francisco.
Okay, explain this to me. Is she making her? Is her whole design thing to make pictures for Instagram as if she's making them in like Photoshop? So she gets because some of them look like advertisements, kind of like, but they're all
this
cropped
is
to Instagram.
everything that she does.
No, I'm not saying this paper.
Is probably for a project.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like some of them look like they were advertisements, but made out of paper.
Yeah,
and they're all cropped for Instagram. Look at that tree.
Yeah,
this is good.
Look at my sourdough bread. Come on,
look at
son.
the ruffles in the bread to make it look like it's like fucking.
Yeah, and the way that she can play with lighting too is just.
I want to know her lighting setup because it's like really even and.
Yeah,
I like that one. I like all these. They're really graphic. They're really graphical. I don't know how to explain them. Like art directed really well.
Yeah. Churros.
A little bit of chocolate on the tip.
Whoa. Pause.
I'm sorry. so sorry.
It's so good. So yeah, check her out. We're gonna have a link in the show notes. But yeah. Oh, and I've broken Jack. She was on Design Recharge. Go to rechargingyou.com, I think it is. So yeah. Instagram.com
kind of stuff.
/Rhinosaur REINASAUR.
It might have been your best one yet. I'm gonna give you this one.
It's pretty unique. I like it.
Pretty good one. It's like Jack pulling out those weird dowels that dude makes for like a living. They were really realistic. It's good. That's with paper.
Yeah.
Paper
she's got a lot of really cool stuff like that. Pop can in there was really cool.
Yeah, she
all right. I actually had two, but this is good because we got to do a two-parter on Carlos.
Oh, this one is crazy. Hang on, the last one, and then I'll stop. Last one, and then I'll stop. Look at this.
What? Get out of here.
Shut up.
Are you looking
at lights and stuff, man? That looks like the stuff that Goro Fujita's posting in VR, but that's for real.
I know, right?
Paper.
man.
Anyway, that's it.
What does she do with all these paper things when she's done with them?
Could you imagine if she had paper cuts and then got like a lemon juice or lemonade?
So I had two to pick from. Both make me think of Carlos. But since we got two, we're going to do a part two.
Babalu.
I'll save the other one. Here's a 3D character artist with some goofy stuff that just looks like...
Look at that unicorn.
That just looks like Carlos's stuff. But he does these weird... I don't know what they're for. I don't know if... He says it's Cinema 4D, but he never really mentions what the hell they're for.
It's like a little motion design. Like it's got a funny sense of humor though. Look at that unicorn. Look at that smile.
See, he's got a couple some process videos of these silly things.
Use ZBrush, okay.
And I like the simplicity of it. You know, some people who just can nail the simplicity. But he goes, you know, it's like simple but also complicated because he's got
the Charlie. Do you remember the one time that you and I both took a Jack pick?
Ooh, did I just pick somebody's? Did somebody show this?
Yeah, I showed this. Yes. Back in episode 114.
Did you really?
Yeah. I love this guy. This guy's stuff
is hilarious. All right, I'm going to go to my second one.
Switch to the second one just like I did.
Look at the butt. Or is that a butt?
But it's possible somebody could have shown this one too, because I missed a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
All right. So how about this guy? I think somebody showed this.
Nope. Not yet. This guy's amazing.
Mads Franson. He's from Oslo. Nice. So this is some cool character stuff, all 2D. He doesn't make it super clear how he does it, what program he's working in, but it definitely looks digital. It's just some funny stuff in here. I like these variants.
Hillary one's like spot on.
Yeah, he does some caricature work, which I always get a kick out of. But he's got some more stylized stuff that I really dig. Reminds me a little bit of Mike Henry's. Mike Henry, a little bit of Dave Atsy in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
I like. Then there's this way more graphic stuff, which I really. So yeah,
that's good.
Good thing I had a backup. Past Illustrator, PAST Illustrator. Check them out.
I am following him as well.
All right, this week's Charlie's inspiration is brought to you by Savannah College of Art and Design. I highlight two up and coming graduates that look really good. First one will be a 3D journalist, and then I'll do a motion one. If I can remember how to share my screen. There it goes. The first one goes by the name of Haran. Or Harlan. He's a 3D journalist, and he is a badass.
Share your screen.
This dude.
We don't see a screen.
Share your screen, son. There you go.
So this dude is like, yo, this dude, I saw this dude across the room. So the way the rooms are set up, right? They're set up in like an L, like the whole floor is shaped in like a circle. So on the ends of the circle, they had students of both sides, similar to our AI portfolio show. This is the student showcase the night before the big behemoth one that was at the convention center. So it's just a little bit more like intimate, right? Like what we're used to, right? Probably about the same amount of students we're used to. So the type of rooms where you walk in the room and every student looks at you like, and then like stares you down till you look at their stuff. So if you ever go to a portfolio show, you gotta like have like I'm not looking at you kind of look, where you can walk around, glance at their work, but keep going. Because if not, you gotta look at everybody's stuff because they're gonna pull you down and make you feel like you need to look at everybody's stuff. So Harlan was I saw Harlan's stuff, and I was looking at a bunch of other stuff. People were showing me stuff, teachers showing me stuff, but I saw his stuff across the room, and I was talking to a lot of great professors and everybody and faculty. But at the end of the day, I wanted to stop talking to people, just walk around by myself, right? So I did. And I'm coming back to this dude because nobody was talking to this dude, was bringing me over to this guy. I saw a lot of different people's stuff. And this guy was like, I'm sitting in the room as a 3D artist, like, do y'all see what he has on his screen? Why ain't people taking me to him like right away? You know, international student. I don't know. Check out this. Now he's a student, so we're not gonna get in trouble for this. We'll be fine. Check this out. Can I do this? Did that go full screen or no?
It did for a second there.
Full screen?
Yep, there you go.
Cool. Watch this.
Ooh. Oh. Whoa, what?
So he did his characters. So he's just won some awards. So these are all 3D characters, and they're like skins painted. And it's based on like Chinese opera type of characters that he was going for, like that's based about a certain dynasty or whatever. But this is some amazing texture and modeling work for student level.
Yeah, it is. That's crazy.
That's very nuts.
Textured and substance painter. Like my studio director, Sheila even looked at it. She's like, yeah, I don't know why we're not looking at this stuff. So she's like, let's go look at this. There's a guy next to him that was overly like eager to talk to employers. And like I literally like pawned my studio director off on him. I was like, you can go look at his stuff because I don't really want to look at his stuff. And I just walked over and start talking to this other dude because I was like, I don't know why we're not talking to him, but I'm gonna talk to him. This dude's stuff was amazing.
This dude is making like hearts and stuff.
Yeah, so he did a healthy one and a necrosis one that's like got necrosis or whatever. And that's his reference on the right.
He's just a student. He's not already working.
Nope, this is a student, not even graduated yet. He's about to graduate in May or in 3 months or whatever, March or June or whatever.
I'll have a job immediately.
Yeah. So Mari, yeah. So this dude's amazing.
Kui.
Look at some of his like 3D stuff. So this is some of his like places stuff. Like the picture on the right here, the right one. Well, you can see it. There you go. It shows you like how he's recreating stuff and recreating lighting to match perfectly.
That's
and stuff.
So cool.
Yeah. What else we got here? Just some other environment type stuff. And that's why I call it. That's what I mean by generalist. Like, his bread and butter seems to be as like texture artist. Also, but his character modeling skills are good, and his environment
his
stuff is
Steam is pretty good too.
So the cool part about it is, what else we got here? Do I got anything else for him? Yeah, a little bit of animation stuff here. Not as much to write home about, but yeah, it's cool. His stuff is cool. All right, so that's Harlan. The next one is a motion graphics artist by the name of Nick Sears. I don't want to do him. We'll do somebody else. So we do another girl. Her name is Michelle. Michelle. And she had a bunch of VR stuff as a motion graphics artist, which is also cool. Now, you're not going to get the same feeling unless you saw this in the headset, but we'll look at her reel and then I'll be done. Really good one too for emotional. So this orange piece is all like a VR. So if you had the headset on, it goes on forever. It's really good parallaxing. And then overall, it's just a really good motion reel. So you got some title sequences and stuff.
Okay.
This looks really good. I love this part. Cool, simple to the point. And she's more motion graphics. So a lot of her stuff looks cool here, but you don't get.
How long are they asking students to have their demo reels be? Does that make sense?
Hers was like a minute, maybe.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I was just wondering if anything has changed, because throughout the years, demo reels and stuff like that always have a tendency to
be long.
Rules have a tendency to change.
Yeah, all the reels I saw were short and sweet. Nothing over really a minute and a half. Minute and a half had to be really good. So yeah,
because the good thing is not that you should only have like 2 or 3 pieces in a demo reel, but if you make it long, you have a tendency to pack in their stuff that's not your best work, and then you end up possibly missing out on a job opportunity because you don't have absolute fire. So, a 30-second to 45-second demo reel of nothing but fire might be better than 2 minutes of
for sure.
Filler.
For sure. Like this Blade Runner one she did an unofficial like Blade Runner title sequence, which is really cool. I thought. Yeah, just a really good mood one. But then, like, she had a really good breakdown here. So she shows, she talks about the movie a little bit, and then she has some style frames and like what she was trying to go for in terms of her different steel frames, and that was really good. And then breaking down some of the other like mood board pieces and reference and stuff, which is all good stuff showing your process and stuff. So it's like good for motion stuff. So she was cool. She was also one of the best ones we saw because she had all the VR stuff and all the motion skills. But she was also the very first one to talk to us at the portfolio show or at the career fair. Like literally, we talked to her the night before, told her about a bunch of stuff, like told her we liked her work, told her about a couple other projects programs she should look up and stuff like that too that might help her out. And she was really interested, very like, wow, cool. And then 9 o'clock on the dot, she's standing at our desk,
Nice.
Friday morning. It was great. It was like,
let's do this.
Like she was very serious. And like she was getting to talk to a couple other studios in Chicago too, while we were walking around. But like, yeah, it's cool. So yeah, those are my 2 this week. I have more cool ones next week, but we wanted to highlight the kids this week. So yeah.
Kids.
I don't know why my
Excellent.
new photo have a photo animation ready, but okay. You know what that is.
And with that being said, Carlos, Charlie, if people are looking for your work online, where can they find it?
So you can find me in couple different places, but if you want to find my work, you can go to cargocollective.com/Charlie B. Williams. You can find me on Twitter at CBW3. I'm on Instagrams with a bunch of Nazi likes now. So I'm probably pretty high. I'm probably trending right now on Instagram, probably. Seems to be a pretty big guy. See what I did there?
Dave is legit.
So that's Charlie BW3. You can find me on find reference and cool stuff on Pinterest. My Pinterest page is Charlie BW3. And yeah, get that stuff in your life.
Get it. Hey, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. If people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
They can find me at sketchbookjack.com and sketchbookjack pretty much everywhere else.
Yes.
And what about you, Babalu?
You can find me at Cuba Pete's. You can find me at coconutjustice.com. Coconut Justice everywhere else. Or you know what? Coconutjustice.com is going to bounce you over to my YouTube channel where I have a lot of Carlos's cartoon karaoke. We'll get to that next week. But yeah, you can also see some of my drawings and works and such at carlosrgomez.com. Let's see. This is Sketch Zone. You can go to sketch.zone and catch up on everything that we have and find all the links to everywhere. We're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, so go to sketch.zone. We have all kinds of really cool stuff. One of the cool things that we have now, if you participate in the fun prompt, not only will we repost your drawing and show it on the show, but it will be shown on the homepage.
Yeah,
so you see all kinds of really cool things on the homepage, including your artwork, because we have always tried really hard to push the creative community. And so we're trying a bunch of different things. We haven't done Vero yet because we understand that those guys don't pay their workers. So and I feel for those guys. I'd burn a car or two if they would have let me. Anyway, yeah, so go to sketch.zone. And if you're on Twitch, go ahead and hit the subscribe channel. Same thing with YouTube. There's a subscribe channel, either Twitch or YouTube, anywhere, like in this area right there. And what else? Oh, you can listen to us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music. Subscribe to us on iTunes. That's it for us. I think I covered everything.
I think you did good.
So yeah, that's it for us this week, everyone. Have a good week. marchofrobots.com. Go get that into us. Then we can have you come on the show. Whoever wins it into us, you can come on the show. We can talk about it. That's it for us this week, guys. Everyone have a good week.
See you guys.
Good night, y'all.